Donald Trump decided to wish Jewish Americans a happy new year over the weekend by basically accusing some of them of voting to destroy the country. I'm not even kidding. So here is the image that he shared on Truth Social. This is what the image says. I'm reading it verbatim. Just a quick reminder for liberal Jews who voted to destroy America and Israel because you believed false narratives. Let's hope you learned from your mistake and make better choices moving forward. Happy New Year. He shared that on Truth Social. Now, underneath what I just read to you is a list of all the great things he thinks that he did for the Jewish community. So let's read that to you. Trump, and pay close attention to the spelling here, okay? Trump moves the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which is Israel's true capital. No other president had the balls to do it. Now, above that it says, wake up sheep. What Nazi, spelled with a T in the middle, anti-Semite ever did this for the Jewish people or Israel, okay? Now, after that, it says Trump recognizes Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. And then number 3, Trump recognizes Israel's sovereignty over settlements in Judea and Samaria. And Trump signs an executive order for Judaism to be a nationality in addition to a religion. So it would fall under the category Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. This means that BDS, which is a divestment movement against the Israeli government, will have a hard time harassing Jewish students on college campuses. I don't think that's what the point of BDS is, but nonetheless. And then it lists May 2020, Trump signs the Never Again education bill into law. And then at the very end, this is my favorite, with a heart emoji, it says, clearly, one of the greatest anti-Semites of our time, hashtag Trump 2020, hashtag Jexit.
Yeah.
I agree with the anti-Semite part.
Yeah, so look.
Jesus.
I know that he's not confessing, but it reads like a confession. But he's being sarcastic, obviously. But there's a lot of things here. First, just on a lighter note, this is the lighter note of this story. Which grown man doesn't know how to spell Nazi, let alone a former president of the United States? And in which former president doesn't ask someone on his staff, hey, can you proofread the garbage that I'm throwing out there? So they could say to him, oh, Mr. President, the T must have been close to the Z in the keyboard and you accidentally put a T in there. No, just blah, verbal diarrhea, right? So now, they might have told him, Mr. President, while you're bragging about not being anti-Semitic, the things you're saying are deeply anti-Semitic. So saying to Jews that they're trying to destroy America, I don't know how it could get worse than that.
They're trying to destroy America because they don't support you, right? That's what this is about. He feels entitled to their support and to their votes. And look, I really want to get this across as aggressively as I can. No one is entitled to anything, okay? I don't care what your politics are. I don't care what you think you're doing to help any particular community. You're not entitled to votes from members of that community. And that goes for Biden too. Remember this moment from Joe Biden? I want to go to that video of Joe Biden as he was campaigning for the 2020 presidential election. Let's watch.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man. I extended the voting rights 25 years. I have a record that is second to none. The NAACP has endorsed me every time I've run. Come on, take a look at the record.
All right, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Anyway, thanks. I will come back.
Telling black people that they're not black if they don't support you politically, not a good look. So for anyone on the right who criticized Biden for saying that, come get your boy, okay? Come get Trump, because that's literally what he's saying to the Jewish community right now.
Yeah, and of course they won't. And Biden's comments are, I think, were in fact a little worse than they're portrayed, not as bad as Trump's, but because Charlemagne was asking him about his policies, and he immediately went to, oh, so you're for Trump, and being for Trump instead of me means you're not black. No, brother, I was asking you about your policies, right?
Insane.
And so just because you're not Trump doesn't mean you get to have crappy policies. So you can see here, this isn't about bias, guys. You can't write, no matter where you are on the political spectrum, that Jews are destroying America. I don't care if you add liberal or conservative Jews or moderate Jews as a qualifier, it doesn't matter. That's crazy talk. Given the history of what's happened to Jews in different countries and in this country as well, and then saying like, you better not make a mistake.
Insane, it's so crazy. By the way, look, I'm gonna say something that I'm worried might come across as offensive, but it is how I feel. Like, why exactly would American Jews living in America care about Israel more than the policies that impact them in the country they live in?
Anna, that's exactly where I was going next.
Is that offensive to say?
No, it's the exact opposite. Hold on. What he's doing is super offensive because he's saying, okay, you American Jews, obviously, I'm gonna only talk to you in the context of Israel. They're not Israeli, they're Americans. So but he can't get it through his head. They do not have loyalty to a different country. That doesn't mean that, hey, Jewish Americans, not all of them, but some of them, maybe in a great majority of them, have an affinity for Israel.
And
Is
I
that possible?
that.
Of course, that happens to all immigrant communities. So Turkish immigrants have affinity for Turkey, etc. But we are not citizens of Turkey. They are not, and especially for Jews, they're not. They didn't come, most of them did not come from Israel. Most Jews in America are not first generation or second generation immigrants. They've been here a long, long time. They've probably been here as long as the Trump family has been here from Germany, and I think his mom was from Scotland. So, and in fact, it is usually an anti-Semitic trope to imply that they have loyalties to something other than the country, and the Germans. There was a guy in Germany with a funny mustache who said, "If you're not loyal to me, then you're destroying Germany, and you better watch out and not make those mistakes." Right? And he said they have a loyalty to themselves, to the Jewish community above Germany, and that was one of the things that made people super angry and helped to start, of course, the disastrous Holocaust. So look, it doesn't mean that Trump's gonna start the Holocaust tomorrow. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have a Jewish son-in-law or that he had Jewish friends at some point in his life. But does he believe every stereotype about Jews? Yes. So he goes to Republican Jewish meetings and he goes, no, nobody likes to negotiate more than this room. My God.
Hold on. I actually wanna go, we have the receipts in case you might have missed that content. So back in 2015, he was speaking at the Republican Jewish Coalition, and here's what he said.
I'm a negotiator like you folks. We're negotiators. Do you want to renegotiate deals? Some of us renegotiate deals. I would say about 99.9. Is there anybody that doesn't renegotiate deals in this room? This room negotiates. I want to renegotiate this room. Perhaps more than any room I've ever spoken to. Maybe more. It's okay. I've been called on that a couple of times too. You're not going to support me, even though you know I'm the best thing that could ever happen to Israel, and I'll be that. And I know why you're not going to support me, and you're not going to support me because I don't want your money. You don't want to give me money, okay? But that's okay. You want to control your own politician. That's fine.
I never saw that part about him saying, "I don't want your money."
Yeah. So look, guys, you want to talk about lobbyists and AIPAC and Democratic majority for Israel. That is totally within bounds. That is a conversation about American politics. But when you go into a room filled with Republican Jewish leaders and you go, "I don't want your money," and I know that's how you control others. Oh my God. Like, it doesn't get any more anti-Semitic than that.
Later, by the way, he repeatedly questioned American Jews and their loyalty to Israel. So, I mean, this is exactly what the latest story is about. So let's take a look at that video.
And I think any Jewish people that vote for a Democrat, I think it shows either a total lack of knowledge or great disloyalty. In my opinion, you vote for a Democrat, you're being very disloyal to Jewish people, and you're being very disloyal to Israel. And only weak people would say anything other than that.
Yeah, in a Pew Research survey conducted roughly 5 to 12 months before the 2020 presidential election, nearly 3/4 of Jewish adults disapproved of the job Trump was doing as president, while just 27% rated him positively. He gets the most support among Orthodox Jewish people within the Jewish community. But obviously they don't make up the majority of Jewish Americans, and he's super salty that he doesn't have majority support from them.
Yeah, so real quick, bunch of things in a row here. First of all, Jewish Americans are among the most solidly Democratic voting minorities in the country. But there are a number of Jewish Americans that are in Republican circles and on television, so it makes it look like, oh, it's 50-50. It's not 50-50, and that's why Donald Trump is super frustrated. So, but unfortunately, the media also gives you the impression that, oh my God, Jewish voters love Bibi Netanyahu and the right wing of the Israeli government, etc. No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't vote that way, and they're not Israeli citizens, they're US citizens. And he keeps saying, oh, they're being disloyal to Israel. Well, good news, they're not Israeli citizens, so they don't have to worry about being disloyal to a country they're not citizens of. And just because you're not a right-winger here in America or in regards to Israel doesn't make you disloyal to the country, okay? And so, and that back to the renegotiating thing, he's not talking about just negotiations, he's saying renegotiating. And renegotiating is when you already have a deal and then you screw someone at the end. Now that's Trump 101. I've talked to you about that in the past. He does that all the time. He's about to go do an event and everybody's already marketed it, hyped it, etc. At the last second he goes, I'm not coming. And they go, what are you doing? He's like, now my rate's 4 times higher.
Oh my God.
He's such a jerk. So he goes into a room full of Republican Jewish leaders and he assumes, oh, well, you guys are just as bad as me, if not worse. The whole room, he kept saying, the whole room, 99.9% of you. How the hell do you know who the hell's in the room other than the fact that they're Republicans? Of course he thinks, oh yeah, Jews, they're always renegotiating deals. They're always looking out for themselves, always screwing people at the last minute. No, brother, that's you, that's you. Stop projecting that onto Jewish Americans. And so finally, why did he do that long laundry list of things that conservative Israelis wanted and some conservative Americans wanted, right? 2 reasons. One is evangelical community. We want Armageddon. Make sure you do all these things that is going to lead to Jesus coming back. But of course, it's kind of inconvenient because a lot of Muslims and Jews have to die in the process. But let's take those steps. But there's a second reason, and that I talk about in my book, Justice is Coming. Sheldon Adelson gave Donald Trump $100 million twice to him and his PACs, both in 2016 and 2020. And he gave him a laundry list. And he said, these are the things I want from you since I bribed your sorry ass. Now, we don't have him on the record saying bribed your sorry ass, but the list is obvious. And one of the things that Adelson wanted was he wanted to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Another thing he wanted was the Presidential Medal of Freedom for his wife. And Trump gave that to him too.
Oh God.
Like it was a tchotchke, okay? So this guy's disgusting. And by the way, again, for Donald Trump, Sheldon Adelson does not represent all Jewish Americans. And in fact, the thing you're frustrated about is that he most definitely doesn't. 3/4 vote against you. So sad day for you, go cry about that. Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below because that makes you a member, and members allow us to be independent, honest. We can be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.